The Fudd has played an important role in idiocy, an existence which has been ridiculed and denounced, served misery and annoyance alike, and carries with it gross moral hypocrisy. To understand the Fudd is to better understand idiocy.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Tales of the Fudd. I am Mike B, and today we're going to be going over some more comments from the first episode a couple hours after it was posted. It's been blowing up, so I'm trying to get ahead of it. It's going to be from YouTube viewers / subscribers, and it's going to be their experiences with Fudds, Tales of the Fudd. So this one's going to have a bunch of short stories that are actually really funny and relevant and really kind of interesting. So, I've also decided that on this series, I'm just going to kind of give a brief definition on each video of what a FUD actually is, just so people that are coming in later in the game or just randomly shows up can kind of get an understanding if they don't know what a FUD is already. So we'll just start there. A FUD is based on like the overall agreed upon definition from like Urban Dictionary and some stuff that I'll add in. It is a slang term for a casual gun owner, aka somebody that owns guns just for hunting or shotgun sports and doesn't actually believe in the true premise of the Second Amendment and stuff like that. These people also generally treat owners and users of, so-called non-sporting firearms, like handguns or semi-auto rifles and stuff like that, with unwarranted scorn and contempt. And then from another definition on Urban Dictionary, I pulled a piece which describes where the name comes from. So Elmer Fudd, if you don't know who that is, I feel really sorry for you. Your childhood didn't rock as much as I did. Mine did. And anyway, it's a character from the show Looney Tunes, which is awesome. Bugs Bunny, you name it. And so like Elmer Fudd, that's his last name, most of these people that fall in this category are slow, dumb, and happily clueless. And I'll try to, I'll add a little bit of my personal definition and broaden the horizons to include people who don't really know anything about firearms in general, but claim to, and that's usually just regurgitating myths that they've heard, and then you can tell if you have a trained ear, you've got enough experience kind of busting that kind of bullshit. And at the same time, they support legislation that threatens to ban or restrict, guns designed for war, high-capacity clips, and shit like that, stupid shit like that, or whatever they call it. And at the same time, being against army guns and military-style guns and shit like that for civilian possession or use, they'll also tell that the 1911 is the single most excellent platform and pistol that ever walked or ever graced the earth with its presence. And if you don't think so, you're a retard, you're an imbecile, you're an idiot, and you're Bush League and whatever, you're whatever. So mainly that's based on other people's opinions and preferences. They don't have their own, but hey, they're gonna tell you. So basically, to sum it up, these people are people who own firearms, who are do all that stuff before, and they're clueless, arrogant, and judgmental. Usually older, but that is not a requirement. There's a lot of younger people who fall into this category too, which sucks because that means it's going to keep perpetuating in my lifetime. But it's also fun because we can sit there and take a laugh at these people and not try to get too pissed off and take it too seriously, and learn how to deal with these kind of people. Now that we've got that sort of out of the way, this series is just gonna kind of aim to expose experiences that myself and friends and viewers of the channel have had with these types of people, to have a good laugh, and also to let everyone know that you're not alone. So there's the brief definition. Thank you for sitting through that. For those of you that have already seen all these videos, I'm sorry, but you know why I have to do it. Okay, so this one is from Jack the Jarhead. So he says, my best FUD story. There was a guy at the gun club I belonged to a few years ago. He was a black powder shooter, so slower than your .22 shooter. Whew. I was shooting my AK-74 and HK-91. Nice choices. I had the target against the backstop, and I was using a spotting scope. After a little time, he sachets down. I think that's how you pronounce that. That's actually cool. A word that I haven't seen before. I'll go look it up afterwards and probably be like, yeah, I butchered it, but whatever. He sachets down and looks at what I'm shooting and comments, must be nice to be rich. I smiled and said, yup, sure is. At that time, I was in my early 50s, so not a spring chicken, but this guy and his FUD wife did nothing but complain that the rifles were too loud and I was putting rounds over the backstop. So yeah, found another club because every time I came down to shoot, this idiot was there. So life lesson, be nicer to other people. Yes, agreed. This is in episode 3 that we talked about this. Just don't, that's episode 2, I think, that we were talking about. Just don't be a dick to people. It's not worth it, especially when there's guns involved. How stupid can you be? Anyway, yeah, I've seen things like that happen, and the noise complaints. God, that shit is so annoying. It's like, it's a rifle. It's supposed to be loud. They're not quiet. Pistols are loud. Just because it's not a .22 or some black powder, one shot every 10 minutes, bench shooting and whatever, it's because it's not there. People have different kinds of firearms. So, yeah, that shit annoys the hell out of me. And so I'm glad you found a different club, though, because I would have done the same thing. I don't go to my local gun club because of a lot of those types as well. So it sucks, but it's also nicer to shoot on private land if you get to know people. A lot more relaxed, a lot more fun. You can improve your skills while still being safe, and it's awesome. Anyway, this next one is from Keezer21. I always loved how some of these old guys would come up and sneer at the sight of handguns that we're selling. They point at any Glock or SIG and say, "All that plastic won't hold up. It's gonna blow up on you." Oftentimes, it'd be followed up by telling the housewife shopping for her first purse gun that all she needs is a shotgun for the house because you don't have to aim. Yep. I've literally heard that more times than I'd want to admit, and I'm just like, I'm not even taking the bait. I'll let the gun shop, the gun dealer or whatever do that because I cannot even start without getting pissed off. That is such a stupid statement. They think it's like a blunderbuss at 50 yards when you're in your house with a shotgun. Not the case. Go watch Paul Harrell's shit with shotguns. No, you get a hell of a good group at 25 to 50 yards with a modern shotgun with no choke. It's just the way it is. And you do have to aim. You do have to aim because the pattern is pretty, small. And the farther out you get, but in a house, unless you're really, really rich, at that point you'd probably be able to hire private security. Your average house is not going to be more than like 50 yards tops. Even a long hallway shot that's 50 yards is a stretch, but it probably exists. You still have to aim. You can't just use it like a blunderbuss where it's supposed to be just, random shit flying everywhere. Nope, shotguns are a purpose-built weapon that you still need to treat as a firearm because that's what it is. It's not just some magical thing that, whatever. Anyway, I've literally said that thing 3 times now, almost. I caught myself. But yeah, you do need to aim shotguns, and a lot of these FUDs, they don't understand that. It's like, do you need to aim if you're out rabbit hunting? Yeah, you don't just hip fire this thing and everything in front of you just gets mowed down. Dumb fucks. God. But yeah, thanks for sharing that too. I could never work in a gun store. I mean, just never. It would be so frustrating and so shitty. But thanks, Keezer, for sharing that. All right, Taco Salist. My only real FUD range experience came about 10 years ago. We were at a 200-yard range and took advantage of some clays as targets stood up at 200 yards. Just iron sights with a nugget. Wasn't a got 9130 more than likely. And my brother was having trouble hitting any mark. 200 yards standing up, or even if you're bench shooting, 200 yards with iron sights, if you're not used to it, shooting at a clay pigeon, which is like, what, a 6-inch, 8-inch target? That's a little bit difficult, but hey, it gets better. The FUD next to us started with a ha, which soon became derisive snorts like the, which then became under the breath, learn to shoot. The FUD was sighting in his deer shotgun with a scope at target at 20 yards. I gave him a go fuck you, and he got huffy and laughed. There was a comment below that, I forgot exactly what it said, but they said, learn to shoot? What the fuck do you think you and your brother, or you and your friend, hold on, you said we, what do you think you were out there doing shooting at 200 yards? You're trying to get better, right? Learning to shoot. Yeah, exactly. I agree with whoever commented on that afterwards. I will never say learn to shoot unless somebody's being really unsafe or they're trying to be tactical and they're trying to run before they crawl and walk. You guys were out there just shooting at 200 yards with a bolt-action rifle using iron sights, trying to get better and learn how to shoot. What the hell's wrong with that? But yeah, I understand that. But yeah, shooting his deer shotgun with a scope at 20 yards. I mean, good God. I know you have to aim a shotgun like I just said, but Jesus Christ. A scope at 20 yards for a slug gun? I mean, let's get real here. Anyway, that's a funny story, so thank you for that. That's very typical, though. Everybody's got to have their opinion. Everybody's got to have their opinion known. Anyway, so I am Shrekowski. This is like one of the first comments I got in the video. This is going to be good. I showed a photo at local shooting range, my 1911, and he was ecstatic. But then as soon as he saw my M1 carbine from the Korean War, M1 carbine, the Korean War wool coat BS was upon me. Never fails. FUDs go, oh yeah, that's I wouldn't take that piece of shit like that. That doesn't have any knockdown power. They shot the Chi-Coms in Korea when they had their winter jackets and it didn't go through. Well, I made an entire video on that, but kind of busting that myth and explaining why it might have happened in my Stupid Gun Myth series, but you can go check that out if you want. Yeah, it never fails. You can just tell if somebody regurgitates that shit, it's like, I don't even want to engage with this person because, again, they're set in their ways. They don't care about what's actually true or what that came from, and they don't realize that, yeah, it's still an effective firearm. There's a reason a lot of countries still use it in some capacity. Anyway, Yeah, these are all classic kind of FUD experiences, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more like these in the comments. So with that, if you want, thank you everyone who, in this video, I got 4 of them. They were short, that's why I decided to put them all in one video. If you want your story or stories to be on one of these videos, maybe get on there, you can do the same thing that these guys did and just comment on this video. Or you can send me a message to my Mike B YouTube channel page on Facebook. You'll just type in Mike B and you'll know it's me. And then just send a message through that page. And then, yeah, maybe I'll throw your story on here. Try not to make shit up and just try to be funny and edgy. Like, that's not really what this is about. I just want to have, like, if you had an experience with a FUD, like an actual person that falls in these categories, there's no need to try to be funny. You just type out what happened because that story is funny in itself. So just don't make shit up. That's all I'm asking. So, because there was a lot of things on the Range Ninjas thing last year. Some of the submissions were like, yeah, okay, well. Anyway, I don't have to bitch about that anymore. But yeah, go ahead and feel free to do that if you got a nice story like any of these. And also, I'd like to take this time to thank the sponsor of this video, my Patreon supporters and channel members. Haha, you thought it was going to be some corporate shilling like company like everybody else is at. Not true. So anyway, if you want to support my work and allow me to make content that I wouldn't otherwise be able to fund, just funding out of pocket, like ballistic tests on really expensive helmets, shooting videos, history videos with actual real stuff like props and things like that, or high quality reproductions to tell you about history, you know, you can do that via Patreon or becoming a channel member. And if you go $5 a month or more on either platform, you get access to my Discord server, which is pretty fun. It's pretty interactive. As well as shit posting. There's a lot of really cool channels in there where we go over collecting, firearms talk, and all that stuff. A lot of cool information. A lot of really smart people on there and enjoyable people. So that's some incentive. It's really fun. And yeah, if you want to support my work but you can't do it financially, I totally understand that. You can just support me by doing what everyone else asked you to do, and what you probably already know is giving this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if that even does anything anymore. Throw a comment down there with what you thought of the video, and sharing this video also really helps. If you think somebody would enjoy this, or you just want to share it and try to support my work, cool. That's a great way to do that. And if you're in the third category and you don't want to support me, you're just kind of like, meh, well, you already have by watching this. So to each and every one of you that watched this video and will be watching my videos in the future and have watched them in the past, thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next episode of Tales of the FUD.